All right, Tuesday night, Raj is in the house. It's the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. We got a lot to get to. Let's go right now. Always good to talk a little ball with my man Raj. All right, we're off and rolling Tuesday night. Welcome to the Krug Show. Hope everybody's doing well. Once again, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out in Emeryville, Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We were just there over the weekend for a little meet and greet. Go say hi to Damon and Mary and tell them that Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. My friend Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. And we are brought to you by Better. That's right, Better. And this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Everyone who does automatically is entered into a drawing to win the free signed Ricky Pearsall number 14 red Niner jersey. We'll announce the winner on Super Bowl Sunday in our postgame show after Super Bowl 59. Raj, good to see you, man. The off season, you never know. Some days there's lots and lots of stories. Other days there's fewer stories. But if you follow Raj on X at RSF49ers, he's always got all the stories, regardless one way or another. And one of them that you're talking about today is Deebo Samuel is rooting for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59. He says, they beat me twice. So I got all the reason to hate. I definitely don't want to see Mahomes get the third one. I'm rocking with AJ and Saquon with this one for sure. So he's rooting for Philly. I'm rooting for Kansas City. Why? Just because Philly fans are vile. Philly fans are disgusting. I mean, seriously, some of the stuff that I see from Eagles fans and Philly fans, it's like they're loathsome. I kind of wish that they never win ever, just because they're such rude and crude fans. I didn't like the way they treated the Commanders fans on the way out of that thing, grabbing hats off people as they're just walking to their car. And it's like, it's easy when you got an entire crowd of fans that are there, supporting your side. But, if it's a fair fight, I mean, would you do that if it was just one guy who could clean your clock? Probably not. So I don't like bullying behavior, especially when you know that you've got an entire fan base who's going to cover your ass if somebody actually throws blows on you. So I'm rooting for Kansas City. Screw the Eagles. Screw their fans. Screw Philadelphia. Give me Kansas City over Philly in Super Bowl 59. Where are you, Raj? Are you with Deebo or are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, Larry. I mean, I get it. I know he's friends with A.J. Brown, and that's his guy. He's going to go root for him. And like you said, he was beat by the Chiefs twice. But you know what? That Philly fan base is so disgusting, man. They don't deserve another Super Bowl. Like, they don't deserve it. They can't be the ones to beat the Chiefs, Larry, and end their streak. It's got to be the Niners. The Niners are going to be the ones to beat them because, listen, can you imagine if the Cowboys, any other NFC team were to beat the Chiefs? They're going to be yapping and talking. They're going to be able to hold it over our heads. I don't want Philly, out of all the NFC teams, to be the ones that can hold it over our heads. So I get it. Deebo's friends with A.J. Brown, but I'm not rooting, but I guess I want to see the Chiefs win this game because I can't stand the Eagles. And you know what? I kind of want to see, Jalen Hurts just crying and, losing the game because I can't stand that guy. And, at the end of the day, Larry, I wish he would have said what CMC said. I hope both teams lose, but, he's got to pick a side. But I just can't stand the Eagles fan base. You said it best. The way they treated those Commanders fans, they did it to the Niners a few years ago. You were there. Like, I can't. They don't deserve it. No.
No, seriously. I've been to Philly a couple times. I went for Army Navy. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the crowd at Army Navy is all cadets and midshipmen, so it's not the Eagle crowd. It's not the Eagle crowd at all. So I didn't really get a real taste of the vile human beings that root for the Eagles. But whatever. Kansas City's going to beat them. Kansas City's going to beat them. Kansas City's just better. I think I know the one thing about the Eagles though, they can run the ball, and there's no doubt about that. They got a big physical offensive line, and they got Saquon Barkley, and they can run the football. So there's no question about that. And maybe they can run all over Kansas City, but something tells me Kansas City's going to, if they can hold down Josh Allen, they can hold down this Philly team.
Again, you're right though. They do have Saquon, and that's the difference from the last time they played together. The Chiefs and the Eagles. The last time these two met, they didn't have Saquon with Philly, and he's a difference maker, man. You see what he's done in the playoffs, just like nasty runs. But the Chiefs have Spags, and he's going to game plan for Saquon Barkley. He's going to take away Barkley as much as you can and force Jalen Hurts to have to beat him. And if Josh Allen can't do it, damn well Jalen Hurts isn't going to be able to do it. So, that's the take I have as well. I think it'll be an entertaining game, but I think most of America says they don't want to watch it, this, that, the other. But we're all going to be tuned in to the Super Bowl. You can sit here and say you're not going to watch it. You're going to find other fans. You're still going to watch the damn Super Bowl. Don't worry.
We're all going to watch it. We're all going to watch it. There's no question about that. Sure. And it's, we'll just root for Kansas City. And it's not that Kansas City had, a Hallmark Christmas special, for crying out loud. I mean, they're annoying as hell too. I mean, when Travis Kelce's mom is in a Hallmark Christmas special about Chiefs fans being celebrated at the holidays, I mean, that thing was cheeseball. I saw that. I was like, dude, I got to watch 5 minutes of this just because. And it was overwhelmingly cheesy. All right, one of the stories of the day is that the Niners are in Mobile. R.J. Gillen, Tariq Ahmad, John Lynch, all of their scouting department. I'm sure those are the three leads of the thing. I'm sure there were a few other guys there as well. We know that KJ Wright was there doing some of the coaching this week at the Senior Bowl. But it was reported today that the 49ers are one of about a dozen teams looking at Miami's place kicker, Andres Borregales, who was 7 of 8 from 40-plus yards this year. He was 18 of 19 overall. What do you think? I mean, Brant Boyer, the new special teams coach, this makes me very nervous. Yeah. No more draft choices on kickers and punters. Yeah. Find one on the street. Hold a workout every day between May and camp and find a kicker. And Dallas can find their kicker. You got all kinds of teams. I mean, Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the league. He was not drafted. Adam Vinatieri is one of the greatest clutch kickers of our lifetime. He was not drafted. Phil Dawson, a former Niner kicker, was a tremendous kicker. Undrafted free agent. If you want to use a 6th-round pick or a 7th-round pick on a kicker, I guess I'll meet you in the middle. But no more 3rd-round picks on kickers. No more 4th-round picks on punters. I'm not going to be at all polite about this or nice about this. I am going to fucking sound these people out with tons of F-bombs and anger if they draft a kicker or a punter anywhere in the first 5 rounds. No, no, no. No kickers, no punters in the first 5 rounds. Draft football players. Find your kicker like everybody else does after the draft. Do not draft a kicker again.
Yeah, I 100% stand by what you just said, Larry. If they waste another damn draft pick on a kicker, I am going to be sick. When I saw this report, of course, posted it, people in the comments were fucking livid.
Yeah, what were the comments?
The comments.
Let me see. I gotta read. I'm gonna read.
I gotta read it. They said
here. I'll read some of them because they're ridiculous.
They said if they waste another pick on a kicker, oh my god, it's bad. Please do not do it, Larry, because you can find a kicker on a competition every day of the week. You're right.
Here's my favorite comment already. I can already see one here that's just epic. It's a GIF. Here we go. We'll share the screen on this one. This is fantastic. There you go. Niners. Nick in Los Altos. Here we go again with a baby. That's epic. That is fantastic.
That's exactly how I felt.
I mean, no.
Don't do it.
I mean, seriously, no. No.
If
guys,
they
I
have
can't
not learned
wait.
their lesson, if they take another pick, another third round kicker, like it would be absolutely horrible. And you know what, Brant Boyer, if he wants to make a good impression, the first decision he needs to make is say, Jake Moody, hit the road, Jack, because listen, I'm tired of coddling this guy and giving him a second chance, third chance. Just bring in a veteran kicker. I don't want to have a kicking competition. It sounds like the dumbest thing in the world. Just go get a kicker that's undrafted and put him on your lineup. Please, let's not have drama.
No more day 1, day 2, early day 3 kickers. No more. No punters.
I know.
I don't. Now, I mean, the Niners are the other teams that are looking at them: Broncos, Steelers, Commanders, Colts, Saints, Eagles, Lions, Seahawks, Titans. So it's not they're the only, and they're doing their due diligence, whatever. But no more investment in kickers. I mean, here's the bottom line too. There's an entire group of kickers that are drafted and never do absolutely anything. They just suck, right?
Yeah.
Then I went and looked at a lot of the bios of all the kickers in football. You know what you find a lot is guys who are established kickers, but they failed in their first spot or two. And now they're on their third team, and now they're settled and they're a really good kicker. But there's lots of examples. I mean, you don't see that. You don't see wide receivers that, they're on the Colts, they're on the Niners, they're on the Rams, and then they go to the Falcons and they're great. No. Yeah. But you see it with kickers. He washed out of the Niners. He washed out of the Bucks, but now he goes to Pittsburgh and he kicks there for the next 12 years. I mean, that happens with kickers. So, I mean, it's random, but just no more sizable investments. Here's the other thing.
Please.
It puts a lot of pressure on a position that already has a lot of pressure.
That's the exact
Why
point.
would you add pressure to a pressure-packed thing? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like letting people on an airplane wager if the captain's going to crash.
Exactly.
There's enough pressure on the captain just to get the plane from, Chicago to Philadelphia or LA to San Francisco. We shouldn't make it more difficult by wagering on whether or not the guy's going to crash the thing. And how would that ever be considered a good idea? No. I mean, and why so it's like there's already pressure on kickers, and then you're going to add more pressure by drafting him. You're going to be the smartest guy in the room and draft the kicker in the third round. It doesn't work out.
That's exactly my take, Larry. When I remember when they drafted, I said he's going to have a lot of pressure in this league, Jake Moody, because a kicker already has, like you said, built-in pressure of if you make this kick, everybody loves you. If you miss the kick, everybody hates you.
Yeah.
And now you're drafting in the third round when everybody's going to list all the people that you could have drafted. Don't do it. You're causing more trauma to them mentally. It just really wrecks a play. It's just a waste to take a kicker because there's so many other positions that you can get. You can get a wide receiver, running back, lineman. Like you just look at the talent that you pass up for a kicker. It's just bad business.
Look, every time you think you want to draft a kicker, in this draft, for example, because I love this draft and I've studied it extensively already. Draft every time you think you want to draft a kicker, draft another running back. Seriously. Kyle Shanahan came into the room after they drafted Jake Moody, and John Lund told me this morning that the first thing he said was, I wanted to draft a running back. And they drafted a kicker. Now, there's lots of Niner fans going, no more third-round running backs. But this is a loaded draft for running backs. And, man, to me, it's like, think about this year. You lost McCaffrey to an injury. But were you done? No, you weren't done. Why? Because you had J.P. Mason. You had another good back, and he ran pretty well. And, he enabled you to buy some time. And it's like, if the Eagles lose Saquon Barkley on Super Bowl Sunday, are they done? No. They got Kenneth Gainwell. They might be able to still win the game. You have to have multiple backs, and I don't trust Guerendo, and to me, I can't trust McCaffrey because of the Achilles situation, and I don't know what to make of Mason and his, he kind of has a small man's game, a big man's body. He says a lot of weird stuff. He's oddly inconsistent. He puts the ball on the carpet. He doesn't know what to say at the presser. There's something wrong there. I wouldn't put all my eggs, let's just say, in the J.P. Mason basket. This is an
He's a good
amazing
depth.
draft.
Definitely a good depth piece, but
He's okay. He's okay, but go get another running back or two. This is a great draft for running backs. Go get a couple. Go get two more. Yeah.
They need one because the 49ers every year they go through running backs like crazy. Even when CMC was doing great that year, you know, he still had some backup issues towards the end of the season. He kind of got nicked up a little bit. So definitely need to get backups. Elijah Mitchell is all but gone this season. Definitely need to add some depth. And going back to Jake Moody, I remember that draft. Like Kyle, the quote he had that draft was, I told I was in the draft room and I said, I'm supposed to be drafting a kicker and I got this Jake Moody. You better deliver. I remember that. I think that video went like super viral. Now you look back at it, it's like, oh man, that did not age well because he told Jake Moody, make sure you're delivering. He hasn't delivered it. He could have drafted another kicker or a running back. So we know he's going to take a running back, but people are going to hate it. We need it. They need depth. No matter how good Garendo played last season, no matter how good Jordan Mason did, they both got hurt towards part of that season because they weren't, strong enough to carry the load. And Kyle Shanahan's offense is run, run, run. And you're right. CMC, there's no guarantee that he's going to make it through the season. He's getting older. He had so many carries over these last 2 years. Like it's an abundant amount of carries. And regardless, they need to protect their investment. And you have to be able to run the ball. Look at the playoffs. Saquon Barkley, these teams that are running the ball are able to win the games. And you have to have good running backs. I wouldn't hate them to get Cam Scatterboot, something like that. I mean, can you imagine?
Seriously, great. I actually heard someone told me today that he grew up a Niner fan.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I'd take that kid. Now, I don't want him in the second round, but I'll take him in the third or fourth round. What did you think of the two hires? Obviously, Robert Saleh, but also Brant Boyer was hired as the special teams coach. He spent 9 seasons as the Jets special teams coordinator. What stands out to me is that the guy survived 3 different regimes. So he's got to, almost like by definition, that's pretty damn good. And I played a cut on the show stream I did a day ago yesterday from McAfee, who knows this guy from Indy, and he was like, man, this he called him a dog and he called him a beast or something. He called him a dog and a beast in one soundbite. I mean, if you get the guy's a dog, that's good. If you get the guy's a beast, that's good. And if you get a beast and a dog, I mean, that's exponentially good. So what do you think of the two hires? Saleh, well, really 3, because you got Clay Kubiak as the OC, you got Saleh as the DC, and now you got Brant Boyer as the special teams coordinator. What do you think of the triumvirate?
I'm hyped up right now. Like Robert Saleh was the guy that everybody wanted. They got their guy back. He's going to be able to run this deep. Like this was his defense. He's got Fred Warner, still there, and Nick Bosa. I'm sure they're going to be, just hyped out of their mind. We saw Fred Warner post on his story, like he posted a picture of him and Saleh. So they're going to be excited. That's the guy we all wanted. I think that was an A+ hire. We had to wait. We had to sit here and sit back and just like, oh man, is he going to be the guy? Is he going to get the job anywhere else? But it all ended up in the Niners' favor. So I'm happy about that. And I like Boyer hire because he did coach with Saleh. And from everything I've read, he's a great special teams, coach. He coached with the Jets and he had a lot of good years there. He's turned out some good talent to be all pros in special teams. Before that with the Colts. So that's how he knows, Pat McAfee. And you're right. Pat McAfee said he was a wedge, like a hell of a dog at special team. Like as a player, he was a great special team. So he knows what it makes. And he's like super into special teams, like his whole coaching career. He's been only special teams. So I think this was an absolute fantastic hire. I think it's better than anything the Niners were looking into. And again, he has some experience coaching with Saleh. So maybe they can pull some of those free agents from the Jets. They might have some sway. And I don't know. I just like this guy, his energy. Like you said, Pat McAfee, hyped him up. And no, I thought it was a great hire because any day of the week, this guy is going to be better than Nick Sorensen, who the Dallas Cowboys hired as their special. Oh, man. You want to talk about great comments, Larry? Nick Sorensen.
Jerry Jones. How about Jerry? Did you see the Jerry Jones press conference for Brian Schottenheimer? This guy's got a lot of baggage over here. There's a lot of questions about this guy. It's like, dude, you're hiring him.
I know, that's so bad.
This guy over here, a lot of people don't want me hiring him. It's like, dude, I mean, Jerry is a joke.
He's
a joke. He's just a rich, it's like some of these people get respect just because they're rich. You should never respect somebody just because they're rich. So Jerry Jones, a great businessman, but Jerry Jones had a dynasty. It's interesting that the Chiefs have a dynasty and that Jerry's looking for a new coach or now has a new coach. Jerry had a dynasty. It was the beginning of free agency. For some of you younger football fans, you probably don't remember this, but the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s were a dynasty.
They were good.
Jimmy Johnson made a trade with Herschel Walker, got like 7 or 8 picks and players, and had drafted well and had really awesome offensive line, tremendous athletes on defense, led by Leon Lett, Darren Woodson, Ken Norton, and they had Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, Jay Novacek, Troy Aikman, and a really good offensive line. So they were a tremendous team, and they won the Super Bowl back-to-back years, and then the Niners upset them in 94, and the Niners won in the 94 season. Jerry brought in Barry Switzer, and he had lost to the Niners in 94, but he came back in 95, and the Niners beat them in the regular season, but the Switzer-led Cowboys won the Super Bowl. So they'd won 3. And if Jerry had just disappeared at that point for a decade, he probably would have come back. If he had been incarcerated or fell in a hole or whatever, and he just disappeared, he would have emerged from that hole if he hadn't fired Jimmy Johnson with about 7 rings. He probably would have had 7 or 8 rings. Instead, he fired Jimmy in a drunken moment in a cocktail lounge because Jimmy embarrassed him, and then he blew it, and he hired Switzer, and then he just went through a series. Dave Campo, Dave Wanstead, all these donkeys.
It was worse than the Niners. They were jokes.
Really bad. And now he's at a point where he's kind of talking trash about Schottenheimer. And the question that anybody needs to ask, or everybody needs to ask Jerry, is, Jerry, would you rather win one title and give up control, one more title and give up control, or no more titles but have total control? Which do you prefer? Would you rather? And nobody there has the stones to ask him that. I mean, seriously, somebody in Dallas should have some balls and be like, hey, Jerry, you haven't won a Super Bowl since January of 1996. That's 30 years ago. It's over 30 years ago. You've done it your way and failed for a lot. Have you thought about giving up control like you did when you had the dynasty, when you had the football genius running the thing, and just enjoy your team on Sundays and not try to find which of the right safeties to take, which of the right offensive linemen to take? Because what's happened is exactly what would happen if you just took any knowledgeable 49er fan and made them the general manager. I'll give Jerry some credit and say he's knowledgeable for a fan, right? But what exactly is, when you watch Dallas, they hit on Micah Parsons, but then the next year they go with Mozzie Smith. They hit, they miss, they hit, they miss. They hit on a CeeDee Lamb, but then they miss on the next 3 picks. And that's what happens when you have no real training. You just randomly hit and miss, and that's where Dallas is at. They make a great pick, but then they make 2 bad picks. And they're just, this year, I mean, this is the team that had Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett, and they didn't want Derrick Henry. They didn't even try to get Derrick Henry.
They went and got Zeke Elliott last year. That was their offseason. Their offseason last year was so bad, and it just goes to beg the question is, Jerry Jones, what are you doing? But as a Niner fan, please let them stay in control because they're making bad decisions and they're being dumb. But honestly, he should. But I don't think he wants to give up. I think he wants to be the guy. He wants to show that he's still this football savant, this genius. But obviously, you see it. He's not. The decisions he makes are so ridiculous. And taking Zeke Elliott over Henry is
even forget Zeke Elliott for a second. How about this? You had Emmitt. You had Tony Dorsett. Yeah. How about show up in training camp with a running back?
Yeah.
I mean, they had no running backs. They had Zeke. They had Rico Dowdell. They had just Deuce Vaughn. I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm with you. I don't care. They can whiz down their leg for the rest of eternity for all I care. But they are an iconic franchise. And to me, when the Cowboys are a force, or when the Raiders are a force, it's good for the NFL. It's absolutely good for the
For
NFL.
the
And
ratings,
those
yeah.
guys right now, they're both can't get out of each other's way.
It's crazy.
All right. If I go to Raj's Twitter and I share the screen, you got this little story up there. The 49ers, the Steelers, and the Patriots are seen as possible suitors for Joe Flacco in the offseason, as all would look for a veteran backup. This is according to Tony Pauline. Now, there's a lot of rumors in the NFL offseason, and I know a lot of you guys are sitting there going, hey, man, my head's spinning with all these rumors, and I don't know which one to believe and which one to ignore, and which can you help me out? Well, let me help you with this one. Anything attached to this guy's name, Tony Pauline, take it to the bank.
Yeah.
Last year, Tony Pauline, on like March 8th, put out a tweet that said, the Niners are really interested in Isaac Guerendo and would like to draft him in the 3rd round. 24 hours later, he took that tweet down. Well, we all know the Niners drafted Isaac Guerendo in the 4th round. So Tony is pretty clued in. And he had a report earlier this week that the 49er coaches were in Frisco, Texas, and that they really felt like they need more team speed across the board. And that was my autopsy as well in the Niners. I thought they need more speed on defense. You can see it everywhere. Linebacker, defensive end, safety, corner, they need more speed. But then, so Tony had that report earlier today, and there's no doubt in my mind that's an accurate report. And then there's no doubt in my mind that somebody told him the Niners have interest in Flacco. I like this idea. What do you think?
I honestly, before this, the story emerged, I actually was live last night. I said, you know what? Don't be surprised if the 49ers QB2 is going to be Joe Flacco. People are like, all right. I love it. I think he's great. He's a veteran. He's not going to step on anybody's toes. He knows he's there for one job, Larry, to be your backup quarterback. And he's still, I think he can still throw the pill around.
Oh, the guy's got a howitzer.
Yeah, if you need him at desperate, if Brock goes down for a game or two, you can count on Joe Flacco. He can manage the game. He's smart. I know he's a little older, but I think this is the best case scenario for QB2 for the 49ers next year. I love it.
I do too. I do too. I mean, it's bad when we agree too much, but I'll say this.
No, I know.
I don't know how you feel about this, but personally, the kind of team that I want to see the Niners build, Joe Flacco could win some games with that team. The team that I want to build has dynamic weapons, a gigantic physical offensive line that just keeps the defensive players out of the face of the quarterback, and all kinds of speed and depth on defense. That's the team that I want to build. And I think if you had Joe Flacco, let's just say, the Niners signed Joe Flacco and Purdy, plays well, and it's December 8th and he goes down. He's out for the year. The Niners are not done if they have Joe Flacco. They're done if they have Josh Dobbs. They're done if they have Brandon Allen. They're done if they just have some donkey backup quarterback who's no good. But if you have a guy like Flacco who's got a huge arm, who's won a Super Bowl, granted against you, but he won a Super Bowl, and he's not gonna shrink in the moment. He's not going to be like, "Oh my God, it's the 4th quarter and we're down 8 against the Rams," and he's going to suddenly panic. No, he's not going to panic. He's played in the Super Bowl. He's played on the road in the playoffs, and he's got a big arm. He's a great guy. I think this is one of the best arms I've ever seen. I mean, if you say the greatest arms in the history of the NFL, I would say Terry Bradshaw. And maybe then like guys like Jeff George or somebody like that. He had a phenomenal arm.
Yeah, he did.
But I mean, and this guy's right on the short list. I mean, Flacco is just, I don't know if you ever, remember him throwing those out patterns, but I mean, this guy can stick that.
He can sling it, man.
Oh, he can sling it.
He
really can spin it.
The only problem I have with Flacco is, because of his age,
he's not mobile.
Very slow. He's not mobile, but we all hope, me and you, Larry, both hope that they build this damn offensive line. But regardless, even if you have a good old line, he is susceptible to getting sacked. So, I mean, that's the only issue that I have is he is, lacks the mobility. And in this NFL day and age, got a little bit of mobility. But I don't hate him as a QB2. To me, perfect situation for the 49ers. Obviously, Brock's your QB1, Joe Flacco's QB2, and then Tanner Mordecai is QB3. I think that's going to be their QB room next year.
And when I and when I affectionately call the backup quarterbacks donkeys, what I'm just saying is they're not. Those aren't the guys. Those are not. You can't win with Brandon Allen. You can't win with Josh Dobbs. Brandon Allen's 2-10. Josh Dobbs is 3-15. I mean, you can't win with those guys. And it's not like, oh well, that's just recent. No, that's career. Those are those guys' career numbers. So all I'm saying is, what do you want from your backup? I want a guy. I mean, like Brandon Allen didn't have enough strength to stand in the pocket in Green Bay and hold on to the ball.
It's terrible.
I mean, he was getting guys knocking it out of there, and he just didn't look very strong. Dobbs played well and showed that he was better than Allen at the end of the year. And Dobbs is a decent backup quarterback, I guess. But, I mean, once again, he's 3 wins and 15 losses. So, I mean, I wish the Niners had gone with Dobbs instead of Allen in Green Bay. But going forward, the one thing, Dobbs wanted to play. And he was pissed after the Green Bay game when they didn't start him in Green Bay. He had the look all week of he's pissed.
Yeah.
And Brandon Allen, and he should have been, yeah. I mean, Brandon Allen is not much. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's a good athlete. He's smart. He knows what to do. It's just executing it. And it's a guy like Flacco's bigger arm, more of a downfield threat. He's going to be a great asset to Brock because he's played in big moments. He's got stories. He's got anecdotes. He's got lessons that he's learned. He's played, and they're different kinds of players. But I think Flacco would be fantastic. I think Flacco would be.
He's a winner. Like you said, I want winners. Well, winners,
right.
Larry.
He's a winner, but also he's got a huge arm.
He's got a nice arm.
It's not like you can't go downfield anymore. In fact, you might be able to go downfield better.
Maybe.
With a guy like Joe Flacco. So I like that idea. I like the idea of Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Now, and as I said, Tony Pauline puts it out there. If Tony puts it out there, you know what? You can almost take it to the bank.
Pretty good source.
It's a pretty good source. And Steph Sanchez, I know I talked to Tony and put out some of his stuff earlier this week. That's a good person to quote. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
okay, another one I want to share the screen on is also from Raj's Twitter, RSF 49ers, and this is BetUS, which is a proud sponsor of the Krug Show, has odds on the first pick for the Niners, 11th overall. And it's interesting. I mean, Abdul Carter is the third choice here, and I think Abdul Carter has no prayer of being there when the Niners pick. Way. But the 2 top guys, let's just eliminate the bottom 3 guys. Okay. The bottom 3 guys are all edge rushers, Abdul Carter, Mikael Williams, and James Pierce. They're 3-1, 3.5-1, and 4.5-1. But Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M is plus 175, and Jalon Walker, the Butkus Award winner from Georgia, plus 250. They use Jalon Walker kind of as a blitzer off the edge.
Yeah, he's like an outside linebacker kind of.
He's also could play that stacked backer position for sure. He's more built like a stacked backer. Yeah. He's got unbelievable speed. And when I hear people talk about, man, as Tony Pauline said, the Niner coaches said they need more speed on the defensive side of the ball. There's no doubt they need more speed. Jalon Walker would probably, if you're looking to, get a faster defense, Jalon Walker might be the best pick you can make. He's just so fast. And I read today that somebody said he's a hell of a guy as well. I don't know that. I've never talked to him. I've never seen him interviewed. But I'll tell you, he wore 11 for Georgia. He was everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere. And you can see this guy close on the football. It's fast. I mean, this guy, I bet you this guy runs sub 4.5. I bet you he's like a 4.48 guy or 4.47. He just, the way he plays, Raj, he is cooking. But there's also a very good chance he's still there at 11. So now you say, who does he remind you of? He kind of reminds me a little bit of Devin White. Okay. Devin White's had a rough couple of years here. And he's kind of, I don't know, he's had a weird career. But Devin White and Jalon Walker are very similar in that they're both stacked backers. They're both really good blitzers. And so they can hunt quarterbacks as delayed blitzers. But Devin White kind of, for whatever reason, fell apart as a run defender linebacker, as a typical stack backer. He's more of a blitzer and less of a dependable run defender. So that's my one concern about Walker, is that he might be similar, but he's just so athletic, so productive. As I said, it was the Butkus Award winner. He was the best linebacker in the country this year.
Yeah, he was good.
I would probably want to trade back a couple spots, but I'd be very happy with Shamar Stewart from A&M. As I said, I'm an A&M fan. I watch him every week. He's a gigantic defensive end. I mean, he's like if you put Eric Armstead at defensive end. He's 285 pounds, but he's very linear and really can bend the edge. He's a true defensive end at 280, 285. So Shamar Stewart's very interesting. He would give them a jumbo, intriguing bookend to Bosa. Jalen Walker would be probably a starter next to Fred. So if you have Greenlaw, maybe you bring Walker off the bench, or maybe he's your third linebacker. What do you think? Would you rather have Stewart? You rather have Walker? You want to trade down? I can't believe that Abdul Carter will be there, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know if Abdul Carter is going to be there. If he's there, they better slam home the draft pick and say, scream it. Like, don't even waste time, because he's that good. Like, he's
run it to the podium. If Abdul Carter's there, you got to take Abdul Carter.
Take it. But, I love Shamir Stewart and I love Jalen Walker. I think they'd both be fantastic. But I think you said it best. Those two guys, I would probably want to trade back, maybe maximize, get another draft pick there, because I just don't see them as the 11th pick. They're still great. I think they'd be fantastic players for the 49ers, especially Walker with the speed he has. But, situational type pass rusher, do you want to draft him at 11? You could probably get another draft pick out of it and move back a little bit. I think everybody wants to see the 49ers draft an offensive tackle. I think it would be crazy if they don't. But two of the best offensive tackles might be off the board. So then you got to go best available. So then it brings you back to Jalen Walker and Shamar Stewart. So if that's the case, you do want to take the best talent available, and they might be the best two at that spot. And you need defensive linemen. You absolutely need to help it. And that's why I posted it the way I did with Robert Salah taking over. They might get a defensive lineman as their 11th pick. Don't be surprised if they do, because now you have Robert Salah, and he's going to influence this draft. I know Kyle's going to talk to him, and I'm sure Salah has his input now. And you have two head coaches on this football team now, Larry. It's not just Kyle Shanahan and Robert Salah, who used to just be Robert Salah is a head coach himself. So you have two guys that need to go in there and figure out a plan. So I could see them getting one of those guys. I'd be cool with any one of those, but I want them to get the best player at that position. And I also want them mainly to get an offensive lineman. But if they're off the board, I'm good with any of those guys. I would love to see Mason Graham at 11. If he were to fall down, oh man, that would be a home run defensive lineman pick. So see.
It's funny. I also, another post that you had on your Twitter is this one right here with Sauce hugging Robert Saleh.
That one went pretty.
He's like, sheesh, with fire. And I'm sure this got a lot of comments.
Yeah, one was pretty. That one went pretty big, yeah.
I can't imagine that Sauce is ever going anywhere. But do you think that do you think Saleh will bring anybody with him? I was thinking maybe the guys that I could see coming with him, Chaz Surratt, the linebacker who runs in the 4.5s, who played at Carolina. Right. I think Saleh really liked him. He just didn't play him very much because he was, backing up better guys. But I could see a guy like Chaz Surratt signing with the Niners as another fast, athletic linebacker. I could see that. And the other one that makes sense to me, and I know that Niner fans don't like this one, but I think Solomon Thomas is coming back to the Niners. I really do. I do think he's coming back to the Niners. I think he plays harder than Kevin Givens. I think he's a little bit more dependable than Kevin Givens. I know they took him third, and it was the bad pick, and they could have had Mahomes, but that's water under the bridge. Solomon Thomas at this point is still 295 pounds. He plays really, really hard. He's very smart. He's not going to be a starter for you, but you know what? I think they could do worse than Solly as a backup interior player. I could see him coming back. I really could. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought about him too, because I was actually getting ready to do a post this week for all the free agent Jets players that could potentially come aboard. Because
I did a video on it on my YouTube channel. I did a video.
Yeah, it's very intriguing. It's a good topic to bring up, and Honestly, I could definitely see Robert Salah bringing back somebody from the Jets. I mean, he already brought his special teams coordinator, so he's definitely going to bring someone from the Jets. Now, it's probably not going to be Sauce, although that would go crazy if he brought Sauce in. I think DJ Reed is a guy that would definitely be able to come to the Niners. He played for the 49ers before. He left because we all remember the injury situation, but I think Salah could get him back. And another guy that people aren't talking about, tight end Tyler Conklin. 49ers definitely need to upgrade the tight end room. I like Conklin. I think he would help, this team and fit their situation. You put him under, George Kittle's wing. I think it'd be good. I think Tyler Conklin's a guy that could come over, tight end depth. Eric Sauber is a free agent. I don't know if he comes back. So yeah, Ty Conklin. And also I was looking at guys like Ashton Davis, the safety. That guy would be solid because they definitely need safety help. They'll probably walk away from Talanoa Hufanga. So bring in, and then there's a couple of offensive linemen, possibly, that they have. But I agree, Solomon might come back. And Javon Kinlaw, he might be back as a Niner himself. Who knows? Javon Kinlaw tweeted, or the day Salah was hired, he posted on his story. So I would not be surprised if Javon Kinlaw would follow him back to the 49ers.
Wow. Titus Moeller drops this one too. He says, wait, hold on a second. There we go. What happened? Hold on a second. I just hit the wrong button. There we go. He goes, Titus Moeller says, wait.
He said,
chat's moving. He says, what's your take on Chuck Clark? Could he help us? He's another one of their free agents, I believe.
Yeah.
I'd have to see his health. I'd have to see his health situation. That would be my one concern.
Yeah.
Someone's like, "Hey, Raj and Krug, do a mock draft." We won't do one tonight, but we definitely will do one. Maybe as soon as next week. Okay, this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Everyone who does is automatically entered to win a free signed Ricky Pearsall jersey. The last one was Fred Warner. This time it's Ricky Pearsall. We'll announce the winner on Super Bowl Sunday in our Super Bowl 59 postgame show. Good luck to all of you. And thanks to Better for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's take a look at our Super Bowl lineup. All right, what do we got here? We have Mahomes or Hurts. Oh, we got a little different graphics this time.
Oh, it's a little different.
Do you like? Okay, so we can go. Oh, there we go. So let's. Who do you want to pick between you want? Is there somebody in? You want Mahomes? You want Hurts? You want Pacheco? You want Barkley?
Let's see what Barkley has. He's probably the best player to bet on.
Let's go Barkley. Let's see what he is. Where is it on touchdowns? Touchdowns, you need 2.
Ooh.
I like it. I take Barkley with 2 touchdowns.
Smash Barkley. If they win, Barkley's Super Bowl MVP.
Don't you think he gets 2 touchdowns?
It's his birthday. He's getting 2 touchdowns. You know his birthday's on Super Bowl?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah, I like Barkley. 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Let's go more than 2. Yeah, so it's 1.5. So let's go. Let's go more than 1.5. Let's go Kareem Hunt real quick because Kareem Hunt is super underrated.
He's been pretty good, yeah.
He has been good. 45.5 rush yards.
Oh, we got smashed the over.
Yeah, I love that.
You would think because if the Chiefs want to win this game, they got to run the ball with Kareem Hunt. If he gets 50 yards, that's easy money.
How about 12-yard run for him too? You get that one.
Oh, I think he smashes a big run. Yeah.
I like the over on the rush yards. Let's go with the over on the rush yards for Kareem Hunt. We'll go with he's got to get at least 46 rush yards. Let's take a look at Worthy.
He's been killing in the playoffs.
Yeah, he looks good. He's coming on. Xavier Worthy, 6.5 rushing yards, 56.5 receiving yards. I don't know. I don't love any of those.
I think the receiving yards, 7.5 receptions is a bit much.
That I might want to go under that.
Yeah,
he seems more.
I think he'll do good, but I don't think he's going to get 7.5 receptions.
Well, he's got to get 8. He's got to get 8. Let's go
8
less. Let's go less than 7.5 targets on Xavier Worthy.
Okay.
He's more of a specialist.
He's like he gets a big play here and there, but he gets big ones.
He does, and he's coming on, but Philly's got a really good defense, and he's going to get 8 receptions against that really good defense? Probably not. Yeah. Let's see A.J. Brown. Let's take a look at A.J. Brown.
AJB.
AJ Brown, he's got 17 pages of book reading on the sideline. Does he read 18 pages?
Is that a prop bet?
Yeah.
Yeah. What pages is he gonna read?
AJ Brown, 69 and a half receiving yards. I don't know.
It's tough. I think that might be a good bet, but because here's the thing: if you got to think about the game, if they're going to take away Saquon, AJ Brown has to catch the ball a lot. So that bet really depends on, do you believe in the Eagles? I don't know if I believe in the Eagles on this game.
I think of all of these, the one that I'm probably most intrigued by AJ Brown would be the longest catch. I could see him having a 30-yard catch. He's got
big catch, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't feel good about him. Let's go to somebody else.
Either. What about Devonta Smith?
Yeah, Devonta's not been doing it very much.
No, but he might be the guy that steps up because everybody's going to be focusing on AJ Brown.
Yeah. How about longest catch for him?
I think he
21 yarder, and that's all it takes.
I can see it like a big time over the top type throw. 20 and a half, I think that's good.
Let's go with that. Let's see what our wager looks like. We'll go 4 for 4. Whoa, we're gonna win $400.
Woo!
Look at that. 4 for 4. Submitting our entry. Let's take a close look at this bad boy. All right, this is what we got. We got Barkley to score 2 touchdowns, could be running or receiving. Devontae to have at least a 21-yard reception. Kareem Hunt to have 46 rush yards or more. And Xavier Worthy to have 7 or fewer targets.
That's money.
And if we hit it, we go 20. We got 20. We can win 400.
I love it.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Once again, everyone who download the app below, make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Everyone who does automatically is entered into a drawing to win the free Ricky Pearsall signed jersey. All right, one last one before we bolt out of here. We're going to cut this a little short tonight. Kind of an interesting. There's I didn't mention this to you, but I had this earlier in the week. This was from yesterday. And it was talk out of the playoff weekend. And they were talking about, what did we learn, by watching the playoffs this weekend from watching Philadelphia and Kansas City get to the Super Bowl. And this is from the insiders in Mobile, Alabama. This was being talked about on the NFL on the sideline at the Senior Bowl. The Eagles represent the return of the running back and the importance of power football. And if you look at it, man, you really got to be able to run the ball to win the Super Bowl. Teams are running more now than they have in the past. And why is that the case? Well, the edge defenders are smaller. The linebackers are smaller. They've all gotten smaller and faster. And it's kind of incentivized teams to run the ball with power a little bit more because you have some smaller guys on the line of scrimmage. And also the argument is that now you have more teams playing split safety looks and, having light boxes and really trying to take away the pass. And it's becoming more and more difficult to pass and generate explosive plays. When a team plays split safeties like that, they keep everything in front of them and they really kind of control the way you play. Linebacker play has gotten worse. The too high safety looks have increased by percentage in every season in the NFL since 2019. This year, it's the highest ever recorded. And then you got some of the better defensive coordinators and defensive coaches, Mike McDonald and Vic Fangio. They've all popularized the 2 safety looks. It's in vogue across the league. The top teams in the league, Raj, Baltimore, Philly, Detroit, Kansas City, they're now equipped to counter these trends. And all 4 of those teams have great offensive lines, and they just bully teams. Baltimore, Philly, Detroit, Kansas City, they all have really good offensive lines. Jahmyr Gibbs, 2024 EPA per rush is the best in the NFL in over a decade. Teams are playing nickel more than they have in the past. From 2016 to 2021, defenses lined up in nickel 57% of the snaps. The last 3 years, defenses are lining up in nickel 64%.
Wow.
And then I looked this up. This was amazing. There's been 12 playoff games played this year. The winning team in the 12 playoff games thus far, guess what they've averaged in rushing yards per game.
200?
Well, that would be
a lot.
really,
Yeah.
that'd be a lot. That'd be a lot. I mean, that's ridiculous high, but 170.9.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty fat.
Pretty good. Wow.
That's pretty fat. So I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, I think we're at a point now where like the Niners have a number of issues, right? They got a number of issues they got to hit this offseason. But to me, the number one issue, they have to be better at the point of attack on both sides of the ball. They can't stop other teams when other teams are in short yardage or on the goal line because they don't have good enough defensive tackles and a stout enough group up front or strong enough linebackers without Greenlaw. So they really could not stop the run at the point. And then they can't run the ball when they need a yard. And they stopped running in the end of the year in the low red zone because Shanahan didn't want to fail. So he's like, well, we'll just try to pass. Well, that's fine, but it's not fine. You know, when you get inside the 5-yard line, you got to run the ball. And the Niners don't have any confidence. So they can't run it at the point. They can't stop the run at the point. So to me, this year, this offseason, you got to get a defensive tackle or two. Yeah. You gotta get another linebacker or two. You got to make sure that you can stop people in short yardage, and then you got to get rid of Brendel and Juszczyk and get yourself a real center and a real fullback and maybe another power back and start powering it in. Yeah. Start running the ball. If the Niners are, it's bad enough that Baltimore, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Detroit, it's bad enough that they're, these teams that have all these weapons and they're really good on the offensive line. The Niners are not going to be able to win a Super Bowl if they give away that they're not going to be able to go into battles with Detroit and Kansas City and Philly and Baltimore and just be like, well, they're going to be able to run it in the red zone and we're not. They're going to be able to run it on the goal line. We're not. Yeah. They're going to be able to run it in short yardage. We're not. Yeah. You might as well just announce that you cannot win. You cannot win if you cannot run the ball and stop the run at the point. And to me, that's where we can talk about other things too. Speed, linebackers, this, that, tight ends, wide receivers, you got to be able to power the ball into the end zone inside the 5. Everybody else in the league is doing it. And all those teams that I just mentioned all have big physical offensive lines and big powerful backs. Baltimore's got a great offensive line, a 300-pound tight end, and Derrick Henry. Philly's got the biggest, most dominant physical line that, I heard Ross Tucker say that Philly's offensive line is the biggest, most physical offensive line he's ever seen. Now, he's a Philly honk, but you know what? So what? He's probably right. And they've got Saquon Barkley. Detroit's got Gibbs and Montgomery and the best offensive line in football. The Chiefs have Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and the best interior offensive line in football. So it's like all of these teams are big and physical with power backs, and they can score by running the ball. And what, you're the 49ers and you're not going to be able to do that, and you're somehow miraculously going to win a Super Bowl? So we got to stop talking about any of these other things and get right to the point. Their offensive line's not good enough. The backs without McCaffrey, not good enough. The fullback, not good enough. The 49ers are not good enough on the offensive line or with their running back or fullback to score in the red zone. They're not even trying anymore. And if it doesn't turn around, they won't be. You can't. There's little things you could give up. Like, that's them, that's not us. But running inside the 5 is not one of them. You cannot be like, oh yeah, our opponents can run inside the 5, we can't. They can run on the goal line, we can't. If you're giving that away, you've already lost.
You already lost the game. And that was the whole season. They couldn't do anything in the red zone because their short yardage ability was abysmal. And that has to deal with, like you said, the trenches. Build the damn trenches. Jake Brendel's not a serious center. Their O-line interiorly was just bad. Their O-line outside of Dominic Twoney this year was just terrible. I mean, I know Trent was there, but then he got hurt. He wasn't really there this year. They got to fix that 100% because nobody fears the Niners to run all over. They dare them. Run on us. We're going to stop you, and then we're going to force your quarterback to throw with his O-line protect him, and then we're just going to blitz on you. So nobody feared the Niners this year. They have to fix that O-line. And like you said, a look around the league, these teams have dominant O-lines, and that's why the Chiefs and the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Both of them have unbelievable offensive lines. And then you want to talk about defensive lines. The 49ers could not stop the run. They tried to upgrade. You know, they had Javon Hargrave. That was a mess of a signing. He has not panned out. They have been so bad interior. You know, they made some signings, Malik Collins and all these guys, your Gross Models, but they just weren't good enough.
Stopgap. They're just stopgap.
Yeah, they couldn't stop the run. And then you want to talk about linebacker. It sucked that Greenlaw was out. And I know they try to, you know, figure out an, plan B, but they spent their money on Devondre Campbell. That's all I got to tell you. That was abysmal. So, yes, get some speed at linebacker, but to get some guys that can stop the bloody run, because they were getting ran on like crazy this year. And I was just disgusted. So they have to beef up the D-line, beef up the O-line. And like we talked about in the draft, that's why I feel like defensive tackle could be a 11th pick. Like, it definitely could be a pick, because they need a guy that can absolutely knock someone in the mouth and stop the run. Because right now, I don't trust the 49ers on stopping Saquon Barkley or Pacheco or whoever the hell's running on them. And offensive line-wise, I'm worried. They got to fix this O-line. I think they can. I think they will. But right now, if you look at this O-line going into the offseason, they need a lot of upgrades on it.
Well, and there's a huge disconnect between the reality and their reality. If you talk to Chris Forster, he's a hell of a guy, but he talks about Jake Brendel like he's fucking Mike Webster. He's not Mike Webster. I mean, he was a Pro Bowl alternate 2.5 years ago or whatever. This year, he was ranked at the bottom of the NFL in pass blocking, according to PFF, and he's talking him up. Now, the Niners have spent big money in the past on centers, Weston Richburg, Alex Mack. A lot of people are advocating for Drew Dahlman. I'd probably do this in the draft. I know Dahlman's out there and he would be nice, but I don't even get the feeling when I hear Lynch and Forster talk that they even think Brendel's even an issue. I mean, how can you stare at, this guy just getting thrown around by the DJ Readers of the world? You can't run to save your life. He's getting waltzed back into the backfield at will by almost any powerful defensive tackle. And every time we ask Chris about him, he's like, he has 7 areas where Jake is better than the other guys. Well, it's like, I don't know what to say to that. It's like, I don't care if there's 107 areas, you're not getting it done. And that's all I'm seeing. And you're going to have to change. Okay. 2 last things, and then we'll jet. We got this one on here from a Warrior fan who asked a question. Where was it? Was it that fast? Did it move that fast? Somebody asked about, are the Warriors going to trade for De'Aaron Fox? I saw that.
They should.
De'Aaron Fox is on the block from Sacramento. So that I thought, well, here it is. We got this one. We got this one from C. He says, y'all think Golden State Warriors will try to trade for Sacramento's De'Aaron Fox? I don't. I do think the Warriors are going to try to make a trade. I hate the idea of Jimmy Butler. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, the Warriors with their Joe Lacob with his we're light years ahead of everybody. Dude, stop jerking yourself off, dude. You're not light years better than everybody. Seriously, stop yanking it. You're a self-made billionaire, but you're not light years ahead of everybody. You're a guy who bought a team and made his kid the general manager. You had Jerry West, you had Bob Myers, you had Travis Schlenk. Now you have your kids. So it's like, and Dunleavy. So I something tells me Joe's feeling himself, and I don't get it. Jimmy Butler, why? Jimmy Butler's unhappy in Miami. Somebody tell the Warriors that he's unhappy because he doesn't have a contract. Well, guess what the Warriors aren't going to do? They're not going to give him a contract. So he's just going to he's going to take his unhappy dark cloud from South Beach to the Bay Area, and after 3 weeks, he's going to tell you through his agent that he wants an extension at max money. You're going to tell him through your representative that you're not going to pay him that, and then he's going to start not showing up for flights and, being AWOL on your team. I mean, run from Jimmy Butler. Run from Jimmy Butler. Now if the Pelicans want to get rid of Zion Williamson, now we can talk. But Jimmy Butler to me.
Zion gets hurt a lot though.
He's fat. He's out of shape. What they need is they need to get Raj to get with Zion, get him to lose about 250 pounds and get him leaned out.
Trying.
He's so fat. I mean, that guy's just totally quit. I mean, it's sad, actually. Is he even a pro athlete? I mean, Zion Williamson's embarrassing. You made tons of money and you can't even get in shape, but he is an incredible talent, and he is 24.
No, he's unbelievable. But
I'd rather take Zion than Jimmy Butler.
Wow.
Last thought before we bolt for the door. This was interesting, and this is kind of exciting. We'll leave you with this. Matt Miller, ESPN's NFL draft guru, was writing today a lot on his Twitter page about the Senior Bowl. He's in Mobile. And Matt Miller, Raj, says, and this is great news for the Niners, because I think Raj and I are both in agreement. Niners are nothing if they can't get this defensive line better. And Matt Miller says this is the best defensive line group he's ever seen in Mobile. Here's the quote. He said, "This is the best defensive line group I've seen in the 15 years I've attended the Senior Bowl. Ole Miss's Walter Nolan and Princely Umamalian, plus Texas A&M's Shamar Stewart are first-round talents and headline a group that has 11 players ranked among my top 65 prospects. Marshall's speedy edge rusher, Mike Green, the FBS leader in sacks in 2024 with 17, is another player to watch. He says this group is stacked and versatile with quick, smaller edge players and big, strong defensive tackles such as Texas's Alfred Collins and Kentucky's Deion Walker, who's like 6'8", 360 or something like that. He says the defensive line is the strength of the 2025 draft class, and it will be well represented in Mobile. And he's not the only guy saying this. Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network also went on Twitter and said that more than 30% of his top 50 rankings are defensive linemen. He said, I'm working on my top 50 prospect list. This is Daniel Jeremiah. He's like, I have 16 D linemen in the top 50.
Wow.
So this is great news for the Niners. Great news, because I mean they've got Nick Bosa, but they need another end, and they probably need 2 more tackles. This is a loaded defensive tackle group. I mean, there's going to be really good defensive tackles late in day 3. So I think in a lot of ways, Raj, I think this sets up perfectly for the 49ers. They need a big defensive line draft, and it's a big defensive line draft.
That's good.
So,
that's good. They need it. They need all the help, and it'll be cheap because they can get them on the rookie contracts. You can develop them. I think it's a perfect situation. And, if you get that first-round offensive lineman, it's perfect storm. You go get some D linemen, you stack that O-line. I think this could be a really good draft class for the 49ers, as long as they don't take a kicker.
Don't take a kicker.
I'm going to leave you with that one.
M Squared said, would you draft Sac State's Jackson Slater? He's a guard, but I do like him a lot. And I contacted him because I'm a Sac State guy, and he's going to be on the Krug Show next week. So Jackson Slater is fired up. He said, man, I went to follow him on Twitter, and I figured maybe he'll follow me back in a few days, and I'll be able to send him a DM, right? And as soon as I hit follow, I look up, and I could send him a DM because he was following me. So I followed him. And immediately I sent him a note, and he's like, yeah, I'm in Mobile this week, but, hit me up next week, and I'd love to come on your show. So Jackson Slater, the guard from Sac State, who did look good today in Mobile, he'll be on the Krug Show next week. So I kind of like doing some of those. I don't know. Those are fun interviews, talking to these guys around the draft time. You know how much I love that.
It's good stuff. Yeah, that's your cup of tea, man.
That's my thing. That is my thing.
You're a draft scout, right? You're a draft scout.
Yeah, so I really love talking to these guys and just kind of picking their brain and getting into their process of how it's, it's a big moment. It's like a gigantic job interview.
Yeah, it's huge. This is the biggest interview of their life, yeah.
Right. All right, that's going to do it for us. Normally we go for an hour and a half or 2 hours, but we're in and out tonight in an hour and 3 minutes. Raj, what do you got cooking the rest of the week?
Whatever's out there, we posting it. That's it. Bottom line, we do what we got to do. So
RSF 49ers, check them out. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corners. Thanks to Better. Thanks to Raj. Thanks to all of you. Have a great night, everybody. Go Niners.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you